time in history. What were they trying to tell us?
Like many of the ancient prophets, Nostradamus camouflages his predictions. He writes his prophecies in the 1500s in southern France, when questioning the royals or the Catholic Church is a crime punishable by death. This forces him to be extremely careful in stating his most controversial visions of the future.
I would imagine that if you were talking to Queen Catherine and you announced to her that, yeah, all your children are going to be royals, but, you know, this one's going to die, and this one's going to die, and, oh, that one's going to have a really bad end, that you might not get the patronage that you were liking. In other words, no one likes a prophet that's right too much of the time, or is too accurate about things that are very close to your heart.
Nostradamus is not alone in the need for obscurity. Avoiding behavior that would offend the church is a way of life in 16th century Europe, causing many groups to go underground. One of these secret societies is the Freemasons. While they are primarily a fraternal organization today, some believe they have a long history of hoarding secret wisdom.
In the old days, Freemasonry was the highest echelon of knowledge of its time. So when you joined the Freemasonry, you got to read their secret libraries and learn the secret knowledge that had been passed down for maybe hundreds of generations, we don't know.
Some believe Nostradamus himself is associated with the Masons.
Right around the corner from his house in Salon, there's a church front that shows very clearly the return of Jesus at the end of time, right in the exact position where the sun will be rising in 2012 in the center of the galaxy. And at least a certain part of this awareness carried over to Nostradamus and influenced his idea of when to look for this great apocalyptic moment.
These Masons, who were considered some of the most skilled craftsmen of their time, plied their trade across Europe. They established a reputation as a tightly knit, ambitious group who built great Gothic cathedrals for the Catholic Church. The alchemist Fulcanelli theorizes in his book, titled The Mystery of the Cathedrals, that the Masons also had a hidden purpose. He claims that they boldly carve secret symbols that spell out their controversial prophecies into the face of these stone structures.
You really don't go to the trouble to carve the front of a massive Gothic cathedral unless you have some purpose behind it. Notre Dame de Paris is again another one of these church fronts that had coded within it very important secret information.
These symbols include a bull, a lion, an eagle, and a human face. While the Christian interpretation is that they represent the writers of the Gospels, their true meaning, according to Fulcanelli, is a warning.
These are exact symbolic references to the four fixed signs of the zodiac. The man is Aquarius, the lion is Leo, the bull is Taurus, and the eagle is Scorpio, which today is turned into a scorpion, but in those days was an eagle.
These four signs of the zodiac are the constellations that the sun passes through every year in its path across the sky. They also represent great ages of time, each lasting thousands of years. According to astrology, the human race is now moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. This shift marks the coming of the galactic alignment.
The most important thing that they put into the Gothic cathedrals was the secret of the end of time. Again, the same thing that's in the Mayan calendar, the same thing that's in the pyramids. Our ancestors thought it was the most important knowledge that they could pass down to us, so that when we enter into this time of crisis, which is where we are right now, we will know what to do.
If it is true that the Earth's weather patterns have become increasingly erratic, is this a sign of an imminent crisis?
The real problem is that the global climate system is a very, very complex system. And in complex systems, they exhibit non-linear behavior. You're starting to see anomalous, strange behavior in the weather around the world that you never saw before. You have flooding, you have extraordinary kind of storms.
Nostradamus's quatrains seem to support the idea that nature may be preparing a terrible backlash.
Shortly afterwards, not a very long interval, a great roaring storm will be raised by land and sea, flames, animals, which will make more upheaval.
Century 2, Quatrain 40, he refers to not just simply one storm, but to a series of storms that keep coming again and again and again.
The great city of the maritime ocean, surrounded by a swamp of crystal, in the winter solstice and the spring, will be tried by a terrible wind.
If I were a 16th century man and I tried to describe these amazing neon-covered, lit, artificially lit skyscrapers with their geometric and angular cuts of glass windows and glass signs, I might call that a city that's in a swamp. He might be talking about downtown New Orleans in Hurricane Katrina.
I had a friend call me up when Katrina was happening, another Nostradamus fellow, and he wanted to talk about Century 9, Quatrain 48, because it appeared to him that this was a very direct and exact description of Katrina and all the other hurricane disasters.
If Nostradamus predicts an escalation of these battering storms, what might the climax be?
Hurricane Ike was as big as the Gulf of Mexico.
We're now finding not just simply one storm of the century, but we're finding strings of storms of the century. They're coming over and over and over again.
While the storms keep coming fast and furious, the concern about 2012 rises, and the search for answers grows more urgent. Near Nostradamus's town of Salon in southern France, there is an obscure cross that may provide yet another dire warning that some believe points directly to 2012. For centuries, the prophecies of Nostradamus have been part of the historical record. While highly speculative and controversial, their author's legacy endures. Viewer discretion is advised. Nostradamus, the Lost Book manuscript, and ancient cultures from around the world appear to target the 2012 time period as one of change that could be apocalyptic in scope. For some, recent worldwide events highlight the potential for emergency.